Let me ask you this. Have you ever made a mistake during a match and feel like it cost you the game? Well, you guys have to cheer up because even pros can make mistakes as well. But Square Summary, where you at? Your motivation guy is back. I'm hyped up. Man, this is your friend, the one and only Keith Allen. I'm here to bring you guys the latest and greatest tips and tricks to make you the best Fortnite player you could possibly be. All right, so today we got a special video for everybody, all right? We all know that the pros are the best when it comes to competing due to their years of practice and perfection. But that doesn't mean that they don't make mistakes just like you or me. So today, we're gonna go over some of the biggest fails in Fortnite history. Yeah, that's right. But remember, failure is the greatest teacher, right? So let's begin this. But before we do, it's time to sit back, relax, and get some of my favorite candy. Come on, what is that, y'all? It's that Bunch of Crunch. And let's get this going. All right, so being ready to compete in Fortnite means getting plenty of practice each day, right? You need it not only to improve your skills, but also maintain them over time. The pros tend to have their own schedules where they can just take care of errands and stream, practice and get some rest and, recreation time in. But sometimes things just happen and you do get distracted from the competition. We're human, right? And so this is exactly what happened with one of our favorite Fortnite fraggers. Day. It's the Epic World Cup in 2021 and the next round is coming up. All right, it's time to get serious, right? Well, during this downtime, they decided to take a small nap in between rounds. It was never meant to last long, just a quick rest before the next round, right? Unfortunately though, the small nap extended throughout the match as the round would begin before he could even wake up. This led to his teammates wondering what had happened to him during this time. Luckily, everything turned out all right with Dave's teammates still managing to qualify for finals, and this small slip-up hasn't stopped Dave from becoming a phenomenon. But, it did cause uproar in the community as many reacted to the situation, questioning whether, what had happened was funny or would have consequences later on. Worst part was, though, the day after, Day had to get up the next morning to go to school. Funny enough, this isn't the first time a pro has fallen asleep during a match. Another player to have done this was Reverse 2K, who accidentally fell asleep during DreamHack and missed his drop spot. Just goes to show you, man, how important it is to get a good amount of sleep, even if you want to keep grinding in Fortnite. So don't overdo it, guys, or you won't be playing to your full capabilities, that's for sure. Sometimes the best way to manage your Fortnite training is knowing where to focus your efforts, and that's where we come in. Click on the link below to visit ProGuides.com. There, you can learn from pure pro-level coaches and figure out what you need to go pro and compete with the big leagues. Master your mechanics today and learn what it takes to be an unstoppable fighter. Fortnite is a fast-paced game, and that means making quick decisions on the fly. But even if you perfect these skills, things can still go wrong, especially during the end game. One such incident occurred to Mitro, who shadow bombed into ghost mode at the wrong place at the wrong time. This left him unable to build or edit for 6 whole seconds as the storm ate away at his health. Shadow bombs were introduced as mobility item, right? Players use them to get around faster and escape sticky situations. So it does make sense why Mitro would want to use them, especially when taking heavy fire. But in this scenario, their usual, mobility efforts couldn't come to the rescue. Shadow bombs haven't been seen in a long time, but who knows, maybe we'll see this shadow form return again. So shadow bombs proved a bust, but how about some more commonly involved items? One oddly common mistake, but one that would make anybody rage, is miscalculating the angles to your shockwave and knockback weapons. Nothing says ouch more than just deploying a shockwave and getting sent straight into the storm to die. That is just not how we want to go out this late into a match, especially an important one. But it can happen due to a slight difference in the throwing angle. So keep an eye on those weapons that, have effects on the user at close range. Remember, guys, while this can happen to anybody, even the pros, these mistakes are not skill-based. In fact, it's all about the heat of the moment. One good way to minimize the chances of mistakes like these is to keep your inventory organized so you can always have an idea on what you're switching to, whether it be a weapon, utility, or healing item. Also, make sure that you're comfortable with your current sense and don't switch them out before a big game, because that difference will throw you off. All right, so let's go back to 2019 because there's a lesson on this next one. It's a $500,000 tournament, and you're set to play. You make your landing, but you're suddenly brought down by an enemy player. Dying off spawn isn't the best feeling in the world, but what happens when you can't die? That's right, guys, I'm talking about glitches. Glitches can happen with any game, but with competitive games, there's always needs to be, a much better filter so these things don't happen. A bad glitch at the wrong time can lead to matches not being as accurate as they need to be. For one player, this did occur, but what happens next is the true mistake. After being brought down and waiting to be picked up by a teammate, an enemy player comes in and blasts them. This should be an easy elimination for them, right? Well, not exactly. Due to a glitch in the system, this player wasn't even able to be eliminated despite being on the ground and technically bleeding out. His opponent fired multiple times at him, but he was unable to be eliminated at this point in time. Eventually, his teammate picked him up and he was able to continue playing as if nothing happened. This is when tournament security had to intervene after seeing how the play went down. He may have not gotten eliminated in game, but he did end up getting disqualified. So the moral of the story is this, and one that you should keep in mind is that you should never keep playing if a glitch saves you during a tournament. I know this may seem like your lucky day, but while it's not technically cheating, it's heavily just frowned upon and it could land you in plenty of heat, especially within the Fortnite competitive community. So guys, keep your hands clean. Alright, so speaking of end games, this next one comes down to some miscalculations. Okay, so in this clip, we see a duo rotating to stay alive, but not everything goes according to plan as the IGL starts walking straight into the storm. Knockbacks can happen and sometimes they are inevitable, but to walk straight into the storm? That one stings. Even more so, we can clearly see his teammate back off the moment they realize that they're just being led towards certain death. As an IGL, okay, you need to make your decisions count so your teammates are gonna have confidence in your leadership. But don't worry, all right? I mean, it wouldn't be the first time something like this happens. Sometimes a straight pin on the map can just mislead players as well. So during an endgame, always keep track of the direction of the zone. In fact, even if you think you're just tarping in the right direction, just make sure to keep track of those slight changes in movement. I mean, you could be fine 1 minute and then the next, you're gonna find yourself in the storm, just taking some of that heavy late game storm damage. It also helps just having the high ground since you're gonna be able to move more freely and just have an even better visual of the zone as it moves around. All right, guys, now it's time for the question of the day. Butch Crush Army, here we go. What are some of your own biggest mistakes when trying to go competitive? We all learn from mistakes and from each other, so leave your responses down below. Alright guys, so put yourself in this situation. You're competing in a tournament when a sudden realization just dawns upon you. No matter how hard you grind, you're not going to be able to score enough to take home a victory. Alright, what do you do then? Well, for Nyrox and his teammates, this exact same situation occurred and the results were surprising. After doing the math and realizing how futile this fight would be, Nyrox's teammates just hopped off, calling it quits during the match. Suddenly, Nyrox was left alone to fend for himself. Now this is all happening during an FNCS, and that's just insane. I mean, quitting a match because you're not doing so hot, I mean, I guess it's understandable. Perhaps maybe you need to refresh at times. Taking some time off the game can be healthy, not just to recharge, but to also just think clearly. But when you're playing as a part of a team, in such a high-profile competition, quitting mid-game, man, I'm telling you right now, it's gonna definitely raise a few eyebrows. If you ever intend to go pro, guys, just make sure to try to complete as many matches as possible. And if you're not going to be able to really bring it home at the end, this just shows other players that you're dependable even in a tough spot, So during a match like this, you could still just qualify as a duo, but if you bail, I mean, you might have a hard time finding other players that are gonna wanna partner up with you in the future. Butch Crush Army, where you at? Your motivation, guys, back. I just wanna tell you I'm proud of you. I really am, and listen, the sky is the limit, so just keep going, whatever you're doing, keep grinding, keep believing in yourself, stay positive, and man, make sure your mental health is strong. It's cool to grind at the game, but you need rest. You need balance in your life, so just remember that. Have fun, learn to enjoy each day at a time. Love you guys. Make sure to connect with my Instagram at Your Motivation Guy, and that's gonna be all for today's video, and I hope you guys really enjoyed it. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.